Hello, everyone. This is Josh from Whiskers and Wrenches. It's a little bit of an awkward intro because I plan to record the listing itself of the vehicle that we put up, but I went, picked it up, did the deal with the guy, came back home, and didn't even get the whole way home before he had marked it sold and deleted it, and it's gone off Facebook now, so I didn't get a chance to record it. But I will show you guys the chats of went along with it, and I'll kind of walk you through what I saw in the ad and kind of recreate it as best as I possibly can through my words here. So the very first thing I saw up there, it is, as you can tell at the top of the screen, a 1988 Chevy 1500 regular cab C1500. It is a single cab, long bed, good old work truck. Now, technically, this is not my truck. I had a buddy that I'm buying this for. He sent me some money to pick it up. All the trucks near him are either rotted out or extremely overpriced. We found this one really, really close to me. It's about 30 minutes away from me. So he brought it home. The guy sent me some money for it. We're going to fix it up and then get it ready to drive over to his place. Now, listed in the ad, the guy did say it needs tires. He didn't really have any pictures of them, anything like that. He just said it probably needs tires. One of them goes flat after, 3 or 4 hours. The other two hold air, but they're pretty old, and it had a brake line issue. So the very first thing I messaged him is, how old are the tires? Got a buddy that's a few hours away that's interested. Just want to know what to expect to make it drive safely a couple hundred miles home. And then I also asked, could you send some pictures of the frame when you get a chance? I wanted to make sure this thing was not a rust bucket. I will show a couple pictures up here of my F-150. My F-150 is a 2003. It only has 122,000 miles on it, and it is already completely rusted out. The frame itself is okay, but the box is just completely gone. Sadly, in the state that I am in, they use sand and brine or salt and brine on the roads. They do not use sand or any non-corrosive solution, and that causes a lot of things to rust out. And I did see some rust around the cab corners and everything like that, so I wanted to make sure this thing's frame wasn't bad. Bodywork, I don't mind doing, but if it has a rusted out frame, that is not something we wanted to get into. As you can see here, he responded with probably best to trailer it or bring a whole set of spares, but the back brake line leaks. That was another issue. Now, that was something I expected. A lot of these trucks, surface rust isn't horrible, but the brake lines do rot out over time if they're left to sit, and it did look like this truck was sitting for a long time. A couple days later, I said, what size are the rims? I've got a decent set of 15s laying around. Also, the brake line isn't the metal that's junk, or it's the rubber part. I wanted to know if it was the rubber lines that were junk, the ones that go down to the axles themselves, or it was the metal line itself. That makes me, a little bit know what I'm getting into with replacing lines, with having to order them, things like that. He responded with the metal up between the bed and the frame rail. There's about 4 to 5 foot line, and it has a hole right in the middle of the metal. I'll go down to town to take some more pictures. So that was cool. Now, as you can see there, he said, take some more pictures, blah, 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 blah. At this point, he did go a little bit radio silent. I was guessing he just didn't get around to it, or maybe found another seller for it. Messaged him a few times, appreciate it if all looks good. I can probably be out there next weekend. And then, I messaged him again after a couple days of not hearing back. Hey, when you get some pics, I've got a set of 15s, but I don't know if that generation is 15 or 16-inch rims. And then another week went by. I said, hey, I can be there this weekend with cash in hand. I would like some pictures of the frame before I make the drive up there. Again, we did not want a rusted-out truck. We just wanted something that had decent bones. It doesn't matter if it needs work, just as long as it has decent bones to rebuild. So you can see right here the tire size was 15s, and then he said I'll have to get pictures of the frame tomorrow. I said, sounds good. I can have a trailer up there Saturday, Sunday with cash in hand if it all works out. Just want a truck with good bones fixed up. He says, I will have to get those frame shots today after work. Ended up not being in town for a few days. I said, sound good. Then later that night, I messaged him saying, hey, did you manage to get some pics of the frame? And then he sent me a message a couple minutes later saying, yes, I did. And as you can see here, it's not too bad of a truck. Now, this does look bad at the first glance, especially for you non-salt belt people. But if you look here, these little quote-unquote frame supports are really just the bed itself. As you can see right here, when you look at the frame rail itself, it is in really darn good shape. This is all just surface rust. There's nothing here. There is a slight bend right here from one of the bump stops. So that's a very simple fix, but the frame rails themselves are extremely clean. The bed itself has got some rust to it, but the frame rails themselves are pretty darn clean. You see right here where the hitch bolts up, there's nothing rusting through, nothing like that. What's really bad is the frame mount, or the box mounts themselves. Those are made from thinner metal, so they almost always rust out just like that. Up here you can see we got a little bit of a power steering leak, but front frame rails look great. It is a two-wheel drive truck. Not that worried about, four-wheel drive. We don't plan on off-roading with it. It's going to basically just be a work truck to pick up motorcycles, parts, things like that. Sorry, I just scrolled down a little bit too far, and his address was down there. I'm going to re-record this a little bit. But as you can see, the frame was still pretty good. And I said, you're good, clean title, correct? And he said, yep, regular Iowa title. I said, all right, I can be there tomorrow. What's your address and times you'd be available? So did that. You see right there, he sent me a picture of that title. And then I'm not going to scroll down because that's where his address was. But that's where this little overview is going to end. We're going to get right into the footage of me going to pick that truck up and some pictures of it and everything like that. The pictures of it, I went out there with my good old work truck F-150 that, as you can see, is pretty darn rusty, hooked up a trailer to it, popped it on there. Now, this truck was not made to haul this kind of weight. As you can see, the tongue is down. I only had a hitch that was a drop hitch. I really should have got one that was straight, but we got home in the end, so it's not the end of the world. But as here, we picked up the truck. It all loaded up good. Ended up getting it for $900, which is a pretty darn good deal. It's got a little bit of rust right here in the cab corners. The fenders tore up, as you'll see later, but the bed itself's pretty darn good. It has been sectioned here. It's been repaired, but came out pretty darn good. Now we'll get back into the footage of me driving home and then the footage of me unloading it here. Well, let's go get this truck, shall we? Get some tunes playing on my other phone. Buckle up for safety, and we'll get out of here. I'm gonna go talk some business with this guy. I will be back. Alrighty, we just got back. Talked him down from 1,000 to $900 because it does need a little bit more work than what he said. Not horribly bad, but the throttle itself sticks really bad. So that'll be something we'll have to fix up before it start driving it at all. You know what? I need to go push the hood down. The hood's up. I definitely need to invest in a straight hitch because I got one with the drop. That was not the right call. It's about that far from the ground, the bottom of my jack for that trailer is. So we're going to have to take it real slow on any bumps or anything like that. And I need to invest in a heavier duty truck is what I need to do. Superstar strumming on his guitar. I'm gonna go get this thing unloaded and then I'll move you guys. I'll meet you guys over there. A quick walk around here. It is raining and it's wet and my feet are wet from crawling around all day. So I'm not gonna be out here too long because I am kind of miserable at this point. But here she is. Needs a little bit of body work there. It hit a deer. It came with an extra grill in the back. It's not in the best of shape, but I mean it's there. It's not chewed up. I can repaint it all black, what it used to be, or chrome plate it. It's not the end of the world. It's going to look better than that. The lights do work on it. They're all good. The ratchet straps I left hung up there, they're all wet and I can't untie them there. It's just being a pain in the butt, so they're just going to stay on there for a while. It does run and drive. It's got a new battery on it. The throttle is a little bit sticky. It just kind of feels like it might need lubed up. The guy said that when he bought it, he lubed it up. Then whenever it sits for about a month or two, it kind of gets stiff again. So probably just that throttle cable's got water or rust or something in there. Might just replace it.
But I mean, it's not too bad of a pickup. It's got a little bit of rust down here. It's not horrible, but it needs cab corners. That's just something you find around here. It's just what the salt does to cars around here. It doesn't go in too far. It does go in a little bit to about right here. I popped off this panel when I was there, and it goes to about right there. So it's gonna need a little bit of new sheet metal, but it's not the end of the world. The main part, the seat, where the seat bolts in, you can see a little bit of rust there, but it's all mostly still got paint on it, so I'm not that worried about it. Apart from the little bit of rust on the door wells, the inside of this thing's pretty darn good. I mean, all things considered, it's got like 235,000 miles on it, but it's not too shabby at all. It was pretty darn well taken care of. Up under here, you can see it's got a service manual there, got a rag for the oil, got your codes right here. All these GMCs and Chevys of this era have these code things right here. They tell you basically what your car came with. So like, I don't exactly know which one's which, but like AL1, that one might be the paint code it came with. T253 might be it, that it had a towing brand. All that stuff, this will tell you. You can get these decoded pretty easily online. I had an old Trans Am that I did, and it told me everything about mine. We got badges in here. That's, 1,500 badges. Cool. I always love finding that stuff. Yeah, we got owner's manual here for it. Bunch of tools and everything hiding up under here, so that's pretty cool. We'll see what we find. This thing was wired at one point over there for an old school CB radio. You can see the wire sticking up there. A pretty darn good shape. What I was told is the guy who I bought it from the original owner. They bought it brand new just for the wife to run to and from work, which was about 5-6 mile drive, and it's been in that family ever since it was brand new. So that's pretty darn cool. It is a stripper model. It has basically no options. It's a manual V6 rear wheel drive, no air conditioning, no cruise control. It does have a radio, which is pretty cool. I was worried it didn't have a radio because some of these you could get them without it. It has the really cool old school, like I call them aeronautic, or however you want to call them. I call them like airplane style gauges. They're pretty darn cool. This right here is where the factory better radio would have been, along with the AC and everything, cruise, or the AC vents and all that stuff. Since this thing's a stripper model, it doesn't have that. I'll flash a picture of what would have been here on a highly optioned one. Looks like that. You can see it's got a little bit more fancy stuff on it. It's more computer controlled. This radio does work, which is sick. It's actually better than the one I got in my truck over there. This one's got Bluetooth in it, and it does power on. I didn't hear anything out of the speakers. I didn't even try to. Didn't turn it up, nothing like that. But I did click it, and it does power on, so that's pretty cool. Up under here, I have no idea what that does. Not a clue. Oh, these are the vents. Is what these are. These are for floor vents. So you pull these out to get vents into your feet. Because up here you can see it's just vent defrost. Nothing else. And then, do you want to cool or do you want to hot? That's all that there is. It's very, very basic old truck. Quick start up here. See all my gauges work. Service engines lights. Check gauges obviously because it's off. Push the clutch in. Come on, there you go. It's got a little bit of a long start, but it's not the end of the world. Oil pressure's good. I was told the gas gauge may or may not work. He put a new sender in there, but he doesn't think it had a half a tank. He was pretty sure it's closer to a quarter. So that's one big thing. It's got a little bit of play in the stick itself. It's an old work truck. Kind of expected that. You can feel all the gauges, or the gates and everything for where the gears are at. See what this radio does. Oh, it has a radio here. Maybe this will do it. Let's see here. Tune. Nope. Maybe it needs new batteries in there. We'll mess around with that a little bit later. You see back here, here's the grill it came with. Came with a spare tire. One of them is just on the other spare, but this one came with this one. It's got the cap, the beauty ring, all that fun stuff. Well, I got a shoe that came with it. My lucky day. And a gas can. Some foam. She's mint. This bed has been repaired. As you can see, this line right here, it was sectioned out because it did have some rust. Wasn't done the best, but it wasn't done the worst either. I can make that work. This bed's actually pretty darn solid. Down here is actually metal, so they must have taken it off of a good truck and sectioned out of there, so it's not all Bondo. Over here where the joint's at, it's Bondo, but the wheel well itself isn't, so that's a good sign. Just manual windows, manual locks, 5-speed, no air conditioning, but it's got a radio, it's got lights that work, it's got turn signals that work. I haven't tried the horn, but the wipers work, all that fun stuff does, so pretty good truck. Since I'm sure you guys are curious, I'll do a little start on it with you guys in the back so you can hear the exhaust. I think it personally, oh no, I'm not. Well, that's where this video is going to end. Sorry if I'm glaring a little bit. There's a little puddle right there, and the sun's bouncing off of it right into my eyes. It's not too fun. But somebody's driving by with a loud... Hey, it's the same truck as this one, just a short bed. Single cab short bed. Look at that. You got more friends in the town. Well, guys, that's where... Ugh. Already getting tongue-tied. I've done this outro like 4 times. I'm still not used to this YouTube thing. But this is where this video is going to end. Make sure to like if you like this truck. Subscribe if you want to see where we, go with it for the next little bit of build over the next month, getting it ready to drive down to Wisconsin. Comment what you guys want to see next. If you have any tricks to get that throttle body unstuck, or if you know these old 4.3 motors and you're like, hey, before you do that, make sure to do this or make sure to do that. It'll really help in the longevity of that truck or anything like that. Make sure to let me know. Hope you guys have a great one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.